Sometimes investing is just plain easy, and then sometimes traders insist on making things as hard as possible on themselves. So let's look at a couple markets here. The first chart I have here is oil, and so far it is doing what I expected it to do. I've been looking for maybe a final intermediate top somewhere around $60 to $62, but the entire sector is not acting correctly. So first off, this dip, while a daily cycle low is due, didn't really drop far enough to break the cycle trend line. So at this point, I don't know whether this correction is over or not. Maybe we turn and go down a little further before the final daily cycle low. I can't say. So the energy market itself is fuzzy, so I just don't want to play in that market. And then here's an even bigger warning sign. Now, while energy is very close to making higher highs, the energy stocks are not following. So again, something strange, something weird is going on in the energy stocks, and as long as that continues, then I just don't want to play in this sector. Here's a little bit longer term chart, and you can see oil has made higher highs above the previous intermediate cycle peak here at $55. Oil is above that level and holding. And then when I go over to the energy stocks, you can see here's the previous high back when oil was making that intermediate top around 55, and the energy stocks are diverging quite significantly. You would think with oil making higher highs that the energy stocks would be above this 2016 level, but they are not. So again, something weird and something strange is happening. I don't want to touch this sector as long as this major divergence continues. I just don't want anything to do with this sector. Next is the gold market. I know a lot of people here. A lot of people are gold bugs. They insist on trading this sector, but as you can see, for a month and a half now, this has just been the playground for the banks to just whipsaw both sides, bulls and bears alike. Nothing has any follow through. Any good up day is almost usually is immediately reversed the very next day. So there's no follow through on anything. This is just the banks are just running this back and forth and taking money from both sides, bulls and bears alike, and we've just gone nowhere for a month and a half. Again, just not a market I want to get into. I would. It's better for me if the banks just take somebody else's money. And here's the energy stocks, and again we've got this divergence again. As you can see, gold itself did not drop below this October low, but the mining stocks have. So we've got a divergence forming here in the mining stocks. They are not holding up as well as the gold market itself. So something is wrong, and again, when something is wrong with the market, I just don't want to play in it. I'll let other people fight with it. So as long as this divergence continues, and as long as we just keep whipsawing and the banks just keep fleecing both sides, it's just not a market that's worth even putting any little amount of cash in. There are just easier places to make money. There's just no rational reason to fight with this market, in my opinion. It's just going nowhere, and the banks are just fleecing everybody. On the other hand, the stock market, we've got a very nicely trending market, trending higher. We had a very mild, shallow move down into a daily cycle low. That is finished, and now we're starting a new daily cycle. It's very early in the daily cycle. Got a couple, we get several potential spots for maybe an intermediate target top. I've gone over them, all of them, in detail in tonight's report, so I won't go over it here. But you know, as I've been saying for months now, that this is where the easy money is at. This is where you have protection from the plunge protection team, the Federal Reserve. They're raising interest rates. They are not going to let this market tank as they are continue with this rate hiking cycle. If the market were to tank, then they would have to backtrack on their interest rate hiking attempts. So you just have protection in this market. This market is trending nicely. This is where the easy money is at. So you can either make it easy on yourself and trade the market, you know, where the money has just been being handed to you, or you can make it as difficult as possible and try and trade one of these markets that are just stuck in the sideways whipsawing ranges with, you know, no trend at all. And I do see a lot of people that just insist on fighting with those kind of markets, but you know, the logical thing to do is just to take the easy money that's being handed out here in the stock market, in my opinion.